Concept of what a trigonometry is to determine two things: the distance between two or more people, right? And then the angle in which where you are. So assuming you lodge here, you lodge at this place. So let's say this is your house, and then this is your friend's house. This is where your friends stay, right? As well as let's say this is the third one. This is your school. So you can say that if your friend lives here, you want to know the distance from here to your place, to your friend's place, or maybe you want to know from your friend's place to the school here, or maybe from where you are to the school, right? So the only thing that can help us to do that is what? The trigonometry. We call it what? A trigonometry. Now, one trick here is that you must make sure that let's say one line or maybe two of your line. What I mean by the two of lines, that let's say you are here, so you move straight. You don't bend. You don't curve anywhere. So you move straight to your friend's place, or maybe from your friend's place to us to the school. It's also another straight line from top to down. So here will give us what? A 90 degrees. Is that okay? So pay a close attention to that. If one side of the distance is 90 degrees, this is where you have to apply some of the basic method of trigonometry here, right? It's very, very important. So you just first of all need to check whether one side of whatever you are dealing with among these three guys is 90 degrees here. Okay, if that is the case, we have these tools here. So the basic trigonometric are about the cosine. We call it a cosine, sine, and tangent, right? So that's the sine, cosine, and the tangent. So these are the three guys you are going to use to determine the distance between anyone, right? Either from you to your school, from your friends to your school, or maybe from your school to your house, as well as the angle, right? So these are the three things that we are going to use. And then how do you use them? Now the first one says that if where you are matters. So assuming you are in your place right now watching me, so sine of where you are, so this is your house, right? So sine of where you are will be equal to the opposite of a hypotenuse. This is a law, right? This is the card that will help us to determine that distance here. So if you are here, so let's call that x. So mathematically, let's call the angle here x. If you are here, this guy should be your opposite, right? So this guy here, whoever is here will be your opposite. And then down here will be what? Your adjacent. And then the one from the top here is what we call the hypotenuse. Where you are matters. So if you are here, it will be a different thing. If you are here, the angle is here, you are here, maybe you are in your school. So the down here will be your opposite, and then here will be what? Your adjacent, and here will be what? The hypotenuse. It's very, very important. Now make sure that you watch a full video on the YouTube channel, or maybe I'll post another video here for you to understand how you can use these things to solve the problem. So for the cos here, this is the cos of s. That gives us what? The adjacent over hypotenuse, and the tan is equal to opposite over adjacent. So we use something to memorize. That is what we call SOCAT. One of the questions says that sine s is equal to 3 over 5, right? And then they are asking you to evaluate this. That's the cos s plus tan s divided by sine s. So you are given this, they are asking you to find this, right? So what you are going to use here is SOCAT. The name of this guy just helps us to determine that sine x here is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, right? So you are having so here, so sine s, sine of the angle is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, and then the chi is what? Adjacent over hypotenuse, and then the 2 here is what? Opposite over adjacent. So if you are giving this guy, this is what you are giving. We know that you have to draw a triangle. Is that okay? You draw a triangle, and then you can be here. If you are here, then it means that we have sine. Sine is equal to opposite over what? Hypotenuse. So if you are here, here is your opposite. So here will be 3, and then here will be 5. Is that okay? Then we need this. We need tan s. We need as well as what? Cos s here to determine this value here. So we know that cos s is equal to what? Adjacent over hypotenuse. You don't have the adjacent here. Can you see that? You don't have the adjacent. So with the help of the Pythagoras Theorem, or that law that says that the hypotenuse, right? So the hypotenuse, this side here squared, which is the 8 square, is equal to the adjacent. Here is the adjacent. Where you are here, you are the x here. So down here is what we call the adjacent. So adjacent square, and then plus all the opposite square. Is that okay? So if you are here, is the hypotenuse square is equal to the adjacent square plus what? Opposite square. So some book use c square is equal to a squared plus what? Plus b squared. So all that matters here, that you just need to understand where the hypotenuse is. So in this case, the c here will be the hypotenuse, and the adjacent will be the, and the opposite will be the b. So if you plug that into this formula, so you have here to be 5 and here should be 3. So the hypotenuse square, which is the 5 squared, plus or the adjacent squared, which we don't know, plus what? 3 squared here. 3 is the opposite of square, exactly. So if you do this calculation, you should have what 16 is equal to a squared. So you solve everything, you are going to have a is equal to 4, right? So the adjacent here is 4. So all that matters here is that you just need to write the cos, because s is equal to what? Adjacent over hypotenuse. So here will give us what? 4 over what? Hypotenuse, right? 4 over 5. So here we are going to place here 4 over 5, and the tan will give him what? 3 over what? 4, and then the sign was already given, that is what? 3 over 5. So you need to manipulate this, right? So the top here, you need to find the LCM. The top one will give him what? 31 over 20, and then that one will give you 3 over 5. So you need to calculate this, and you have your answer to be 31 over 12. If you have any question, just make sure that you comment down below. Unlike the Pythagoras theorem, right? So the importance of the cosine rule and the sine rule is that we use it when the triangle that we are dealing with, it is not what? A right angle triangle. What I mean by that is, if you one side of the triangle, it is not what? 90 degrees, you cannot use the what? The Pythagoras theorem. The Pythagoras theorem says that one side of the triangle has to be at 90 degrees, because before maybe you can apply that 8 squared is equal to the adjacent square plus or the opposite. If one side of the triangle is not 90, you cannot use this. Now, in case one side of the triangle is not up to it's not 90 degrees, then you have to use the cosine rule and the sine rule in solving your problem, right? So let's look at how the sine rule looks like. So from the question above, you are told to find the angle A, that is AD, and then C. So the angle at the middle here, right? So the angle at the middle here. So this is exactly what you are doing. So as I already explained this, the trigonometry is used to find the distance and the angle between 3 people, right? So you already know that. So here we are going to look at the angle here, the angle at the middle here. So here, exactly this place. You can see that this is a combination of 2 triangles, right? So this is the first one, and this is the second one. So the way of using the cosine and the sine rule is that here we need to know the length here, the distance from this guy. So from A to C, you must know this guy so that we can apply the cosine rule on this triangle. Now look at the first triangle. This is a right angle triangle. So we are free to use the Pythagoras theorem here on the first part to determine this length here. So okay, since we are giving this guy and then this guy, we can easily determine the third side by using the Pythagoras theorem that says that the hypotenuse square is equal to the adjacent square plus the opposite square. You just need to plug in, because we don't know the hypotenuse, so but we know the adjacent as well as the opposite. So assuming you are here, right? Assuming you are here, so this guy will be your opposite. So if you solve that, you should have your hypotenuse to be equal to 5, right? So the 8 is 5. Since 8 is 5, you can apply the cosine rule. So this is what the cosine rule looks like. So this is exactly how the cosine rule looks like. That is what the a squared plus b squared and plus c squared minus 2bc, and then this is very simple. I have a full video on this thing on the channel, so make sure that you subscribe and watch this video. So the a here is the line that you are facing. So if you are here, this guy will be your A, right? So if you are here, this guy will be your A, and then the rest of the two are B and C. Is that okay? So I have a full video and then how to solve this type of problem on the concept of angle of elevation. So the word elevation here means that you want to get promoted, right? So maybe you want to upgrade yourself, right? So you want to go up, always you want to go up. So upgrading yourself meaning that you are moving forward, right? Or promoting yourself meaning that you are going up. So look at this very simple scenario here. So assuming you are here, right? You are here and then you are walking on a level ground. So this is a level ground, or the earth planet here. Then you saw a very nice and beautiful story building here, right? On top of you. So this is a story building here. So you can see that if you are here, your imagination here is that this is a very nice story building, or when and how can you also get there. So the idea is that you are imagining you are seeing the future, right? Something that is ahead of you. You are seeing the future. How can you promote yourself, or how can you upgrade yourself, or when or what are the methods that you can use to get this type of beautiful building. So if you are here, you lift up your eyes and see that this is something that you also want to achieve in your life. So you are forming an angle of elevation, right? So mathematically, what I mean here is that the angle of elevation always goes up, right? So from where you are to the up, right? So this is what the scenario for the angle. So mathematically, if you are here and then the building is also here, then you are looking into the future. So the angle goes up here. Then if you are here, then you are looking into the building this way. So the angle also goes this way. Is that okay? So that is what the angle of what elevation. Now, two things. So this is the secret here. So two things you have to understand when you are dealing with questions that involves angle of elevation or depression, right? So here, elevation, where you are is the number one. Is that okay? Where you are is the number one, and then number two is exactly where the building is. So that tells you that either the angle goes this way or this way. Is that okay? And then the third one is that if this is a story building, so automatically down here there will be a straight wall, right? So the wall here always will go straight. Is that okay? I've never seen a slanted wall before, so if you see some before, make sure that you comment down below. So the wall was go straight here, right? So this is a vertical wall. So one thing you have to notice is that one, where you are standing, is that okay? Where you are standing, and two, where the building is. So that tells you whether the angle goes this way, or that way. Is that okay? So that is very simple scenario. Now this is why you need to solve some of practical questions and see how best you can understand this method, right? So this is just a simple scenario here. Depending on the dimension that they are giving it, let's say the angle of elevation, that's 60 degrees, whatever you are dealing with. So let's see how to solve that using these questions here.